we are on the last question, which is the just concluded diet, May 2025, which was question 4. Question 4 tested the IASB Clarity Project and also the Audit Committee again. Okay, so the question reads, the organization and structure of companies and the related audit environment have been changing very rapidly in recent times, just as the regulatory framework is also changing. This impacts significantly on the quality of governance, auditing, standards, and other guiding principles. An auditor is therefore expected to be conversant with this and be in a position to anticipate actions and motives of clients. In a discussion with the client, some of the issues manifested. We were able to give some basic hints on the issues that the client raised and proposed to go home and review some of them for detailed discussion later. Required, prepare a brief statement on the IASB Clarity Project and the updates to the background of the project for discussion with the client. So you can see this is not a direct recall now. This is application based because you're going to discuss with the client. So prepare a brief statement on the IASB Clarity Project and the updates to the background of the project for discussion with the client. Then B, evaluate the duties and responsibilities of the Audit Committee as specified by the Nigeria Code of Corporate Governance 2018 and also give the objectives of the Audit Committee. Wow. So we have a double barrel. The duties and responsibilities, 1. Then we have the objectives of the committee, 2. So take note of this as we answer or try to provide some thoughts as we attempt the question. Okay, so the audit environment and the regulatory framework are rapidly changing and imparting governance and auditing standards. An auditor needs to be conversant with these changes. You had a discussion with a client, gave some basic hints on issues and proposed a discussion later after reviewing some points. All right. So in speaking to the A part, the prepare a brief statement for discussion with the client suggests, I think, a clear, concise, and informative presentation. So let's look at the solution. Okay. So the solution provides or covers the background, the objective, and key updates and improvements. Okay, even though I don't like such questions coming, but then in writing, we need to define the Clarity Project like we've seen, state its main objective, and then provide key updates or improvements it brought to the ISAs that were affected. So the key updates and improvements, bullet points will suffice in providing those specific details. Ensure the language is suitable for explanation to the client. Make it clear and make it also very straightforward. And 8 marks was allocated to that. 8 marks were allocated to that question, to that area. Okay. So we can see that there's 3, 2, and 3. Okay, so the marking guides breakdown, brief statement on IASB Clarity Project. Then any 3 points give us 3 marks. Then any 2 updates on background, 2 marks. Then any 3 international standard on auditing improvement, 3 marks. Okay, so the background actually from this guide, the background, speaking to the initial statement, IASB initiated the project. The response to the IASA has been complex, inconsistent, hard to understand and implement were the reasons for the update and the review. So let's aim for comprehensive reviews of all IASAs And also remember the ISQCs have been replaced with ISQMs currently. So that's the new dispensation. So what's the objective is to enhance understandability, consistency, and applicability of the ISAs. Another objective is to ensure the ISAs are clearly written, structured, and they are comprehensive globally. So key updates and points and improvements. So we need to at least provide 5 to 6 to cover those marks. The clarified ISAs came into effect for audits beginning December 15th, 2019. Then we have 36 clarified ISAs and 1 clarified ISQC. So those were the clarifications that were provided. Then 16 ISAs were substantially reviewed, redrafted. 1 new ISA, which is ISA 265, was issued. 19 were redrafted but not revised. It's actually hard to memorize all these things, but then if you have to, even though the question rarely comes out, you have to memorize it. So improvements in all the clarified ISAs, like the objective of the auditor, ISA 200, setting that objective, establishing an obligation of the auditor for those objectives, and clarifying obligations and language using shall instead of should, like we saw during the lecture, were the key updates. Then elimination of ambiguities in the requirements. And the new structure provided introductory material, objectives, definitions, requirements, application, and other explanatory material. We said that in the lecture, but it's hard to regurgitate these words. That's why I said you have to memorize some if you have to do that to understand some of these things later. It's not cramming. Cramming is different from memorizing. I know somebody will say, cramming and memorizing, they are the same. They are not. Cramming is more difficult than memorizing. So I don't like cramming, and cramming is dangerous. Under exam tension, you forget everything you cram. But if you memorize and if you use mnemonics, acronyms, you tend to remember. So cramming and memorizing are not the same. So what's the difference? Can somebody tell us the difference between cramming and memorizing? Somebody can share some thoughts. What's the difference between cramming and memorizing, please? I love more of memorizing. Okay, please go ahead, Grace. Yes, please.
Sorry, I wanted to ask question on the IAAS Clarity Project, not on memorizing and cramming.
Cramming. Oh, okay. All right.
Yes, I raised up my hand since.
Okay, sorry, I'm just seeing your hand now. All right. Sorry, Kella, you raised your hand too. Were you trying to help us with cramming and memorizing, or you wanted to ask a question on that question?
Okay, sorry, I just joined. I joined rather late. I'm sorry about that. I saw the question. I heard the question on cramming and memorizing. Well, cramming is, if I put it in my own words, is like picking a particular definition or just speaking it word for word, and then pouring it out when exam demands that. While memorizing is understanding the real stuff, that is understanding it very well and then putting it in your own words. Yes. when that stuff is needed in an exam or a test.
Absolutely fantastic. I like that. So there are two different words. Thank you for that. So in buttressing what he just said, because it's clear, what he said is correct. Cramming is trying to stuff information into your head very quickly, and it's dangerous. You easily forget, and it's usually used during or it's close to exam without really understanding it, and that's true. So, for example, if you cram, you might recall a definition of professional skepticism, but you not understand the application, when the case study twists the scenario slightly, you actually not understand how to even apply it. You just cram the professional skepticism meaning and you don't even know what it means. So like memorizing the recipe, cramming is memorizing or taking it word by word for word, and you don't have an idea of actually what it looks like or what it means. Well, memorizing, like Keller said, I like his word, understanding. You are storing key facts, formats, frameworks in long-term memory after you've understood them. So, like you can recall these ISAs, apply them, recall them. Some even speak when they are trying to memorize, they speak it so that it can stick. So, like the ethical principles and the regulatory guidance in different case study contexts, once you're able to memorize it, you can apply it. So, knowing the recipe well to cook confidently, even in the kitchen, if the kitchen changes, is an example of memorizing. You know the recipe well. So, if they change the kitchen or they carry it to another kitchen, you still cook because you know the recipe. That's what memorizing is all about. So, change the question, change the scenario. I know how to cook. Carry the chicken from Lagos to Kaduna. I'll still cook because I know the recipe. And that's just like an analogy that helps you. So cramming helps you remember wordings temporarily, but it's very risky, especially for open-ended and scenario-based questions. Very easy. But memorizing with understanding lets you apply the knowledge flexibly, which is exactly what examiners are looking for, especially like the ICAN exam. So let's understand, memorize key points, and practice applying it in the scenario. So our goal isn't to sound like a textbook. It's to sound like a competent auditor in the exam advising a real client. Okay, thank you for that engagement. So Grace wanted to ask a question on the IASB Clarity Project. Grace, please go ahead.
Okay, sir. Please, this IASB Clarity Project seems to be strange to me. I don't know which ICAN study pack was it documented. It's like I've not come across it before. Is
in the current study text we are using now, like Triple A? Is there? Chapter 2.
The one you did, or the one ICAN did? Yeah, I've been reading.
The one ICAN did.
I've read
No.
chapter.
Okay.
I've not seen it before.
Okay, let me open the study text because it's there, graphically there with a lot of elaborate stuff. So I'm sharing the study text now. Can you see the study text on the screen?
Yes, 2021. Okay.
Yes,
edition.
update. Yes, that's the latest. They are currently working on the 2025 edition. So this is chapter. This is chapter 2. Unfortunately, I think we are currently in the IASB project. So you can see 2.3, the IASB Clarity Project. So this professional standards, chapter 2, page 44. So you see the professional standard starts from the international standard setting process. We took it in the lecture, the preface to international standards on quality control, auditing, review, order assurance, and related project services. We also spoke about the IASB Clarity Project. This is it. Then ISA 200. Maybe you were not in the class, so you may have to go. So this is the study text, and everything is there. Elaborate. What I did is even more of summary, but it's elaborated there in the study text.
Thank you, sir.
All right. You're welcome. There's so much to read, actually, so I understand. There's so much to read, so take note of them and let's not skip them. All right, so let's go to the second part. The IASB part is actually... Okay, your hand is still up, Grace. You still want to say something? Okay. All right, it's the hold hand. All right, so let's look at this volume or heavy weighted question, the B part, which is 12 marks. the duties and responsibilities, and also the objectives. I don't think I've seen any question on the objectives of the audit committee. Wow. So the examiner added weight to that. I don't think he has tested the objectives of the audit committee before. Okay, so that's a new addition to his plethora of questions. All right, so evaluation. Evaluate. That's what he said. Okay, so in looking at this question, the B part, and it has a whopping 12 marks. So we need to divide the question into 2 sessions. So as you are reading those questions, don't just assume it's the normal duties and responsibilities and start writing. Reading between the lines, please. So we need to divide it, writing, into 2 parts. The duties and the responsibilities, then the objectives. The objectives. Take note. So in writing for the duties and objectives, the duties and responsibilities, we need to list the core functions that we've seen in the last 2 questions, 3 past questions. We need to list the core functions of the audit committee, focusing on the oversight of financial reporting, integrity, of course, the internal controls, internal audit, external audit, risk management, compliance, governance, as stated in the Nigerian Code of Corporate Governance. Clear. So write on that. Then the second one is the objectives. State the overarching goals or objectives. Now, the aim of having an audit committee, very important. You need to state them. So in writing, clearly use headers to provide the duties and responsibilities separately, and also the objectives. So use clear headers, then use bullet points for those, for each. Remember, evaluate is a command word, which means for duties and responsibilities, you should not just list, but briefly explain why the duty is important or what it achieves in terms of corporate governance. That's what the duty means. So evaluate command means you should not just list, you briefly explain why the duty is important or what it achieves in terms of corporate governance. Then for objectives, a concise statement for each is fine. And you can reference the Nigerian Code of Corporate Governance 2018. Explicitly is crucial for relevance. So you see, he said give. So give can be stated as list. Take note of this. So he didn't say evaluate the objectives. He said evaluate the duties and also give the objective. So give is short term, is brief, give. So for the objectives, just concise statement for each is fine. Reference the NCCG 2018 explicitly is crucial for relevance. So take note of that. All right, so let's run to the marking. Looking at the answers, you can see that he stated the responsibilities, or he explained the responsibilities. Some were short, some were long. Then you see the objectives is separate. So they were virtually short. Oh, stating just this number 6 is long. Okay, so for a 12-mark question, I'm more interested in the marking. So 1 mark each for any 9 codes. Then for the objectives, 3 marks. Okay, so more mark for the duties and responsibilities up to 9, and 1 mark each for 3 objectives. Okay. So let's pick a clue from that marking and speak about it. The duties and responsibilities, 1 mark each for 9 codes. Then the objectives of the audit committee, we have 3 marks. So the objectives have lesser mark. Okay, so we may not go through all the duties and responsibilities because we've spoken about them. So let's not take much time. They are the same thing. So if you give about 9, it will suffice. We've looked at previous questions where we provided up to 15. So you have a plethora of options to write from, so many. But the objectives now, looking at the marking key, you need to aim for at least 3 objectives. So speaking to the objectives, we're given 6. The examiner provided 6. It's talking about ascertaining compliance with policies. So to ascertain whether accounting and reporting policies are in accordance with legal requirements and agreed ethical practices. So most of us that do audit, when you are trying to explain a finding, you must provide the control objectives. So that's the same thing with the audit committee. Remember our audit reports. Some of us that are external or internal auditors, you must provide the control objective when you providing management with a finding you want to state. So it's the same thing here. So you need to ascertain whether the accounting policies are in accordance with legal requirements and agreed ethical practice is a clear objective. And also to review audit scope and planning for the audit requirements for both internal and external audits. Then to review findings on management matters in conjunction with external auditors and departmental responses. And also another objective is to keep under review the effectiveness of the company's system of accounting and internal control. And also recommendations on external auditors. And the objective to that is to make recommendations to the board regarding the appointment, removal, and remuneration of external auditors. So then finally, another objective is to authorize the internal audit to carry out any activities of, so it's the wordings now, I think, that changed, but an objective is actually, some of them were coined from the duties and the responsibilities, especially the last two. So to do this, to do that, the responsibility is stated, but the objective could also be coined from the responsibility and duty, depending on how you can craft out those answers from the. So 6 was provided, so no more than 3. 3 is okay. So 9-3. And AA will ask that, okay, for a 12-mark question, can you provide 6-6? Yeah, so you cannot do that under this condition. If I remember one of AA's question, it resonates practically. So under duties and responsibilities, at least let that carry more weight than the objectives alone. Objective was just to give. But you see, you are supposed to evaluate duties and responsibilities. So you should know that will have more weight, maybe 8-4 or 9-3. So where you have double questions, duties and responsibilities combined in one, and you have objectives in one, know that the other one will carry more weight or more marks than the other one, not a question that is at par. So take note of that. So if you have list the duties and give the responsibilities, okay, you can do par, maybe you have 10 marks, you can do 5-5 for that. So, and it's good we are coming through these questions to see how to allocate weights and marks in answering these very, very complex and tricky questions. All right. That will be the end of our Q&A question. It was actually long, but it was necessary. We spoke to them very, very graphically. So before we move to chapter 3, we have less than 20 minutes more to close for the night. Any questions? All right. Yeah, Keller, your hand is already up. Please go ahead.
I'm a bit confused with this, talking about the duties of audit committees, and here we're talking about objectives or aims of audit committees, and you see that both of them seem to be clashing with the responses provided here. When you talk of objective, to my own understanding, objective and aims, I think I will be thinking of what will be the end result we will achieve through the
exactly,
duties of this audit committee. But here, what we are listing here as the objectives, they seem to be almost the same thing with their duties. You see, talking about to review, to do this, which is not exactly like, I'm not seeing it as a result, as what we are achieving as a result of their duties. So I don't know, sir, can you throw more lights on that? Because in a typical exam situation, it really would be confusing, talking about the aims and objectives and then their duties too.
All right, thank you very much. I actually mentioned that confusion at the end of my thoughts and review, but then let's go back to it because you are actually right. Now, if you look at this last objective, like the second to the last, you see that he said the objective is to make recommendations to the board and the approval on the appointment, removal, and remuneration of external auditors of the company. Now, let's go to one of the duties. Let's go to one of the duties. You'll see it's almost the same thing, repeated verbatim. Looking for that point where he said that, because there was a place where he said review. Okay, maybe it was not stated here in this question. So let's look at this one. Authorize the internal auditor to carry out investigations into any activities of the company which may be of interest or concern to the committee. Okay, so if you look at this duties and responsibility, invoke its authority to investigate any matter within its term of reference, for which purpose the company must make available the resources to the internal auditors to carry out its function, including external advice. And okay, it didn't state investigation. Okay, so if I'll share my own thought on this, the duties and the responsibilities speak to discussion, review. So it goes about, it speaks about the work, what they are supposed to be doing, their core function. Then the objective speaks to what they want to achieve. That word is very important. So one is the end result, achievement. Then the other one is actually the process. The process leads to the product. So if any question from any duty or responsibility could be, if achieved, an objective. And that is why two of them can be intertwined depending on how you say it or how you put it. Now, look at the listing or the explanation of the duties and responsibilities: review, preserve, consider, invoke, discuss. So those are words you use to explain duties and responsibilities. But for objectives, you see that he said ascertain. Now, in practical internal audit or external audit, when you are writing your findings, the first word is to. You see that TO is the word to use. If I were to write these objectives, I will not write ascertain, I will not write review, because it looks like you are repeating what you are doing in the duties. You can't say review the scope, review the findings in practical internal audit or external audit. You can't do that when you have a finding. So you said to ensure, to provide, to, you see that to word comes first person. So I would suggest that the objective should be stratified, should be different. I believe the examiner used this based on his copy and paste, whatever, but it's confusing, like you said. So if I will write this, like if you look at my thoughts, I was sharing my thoughts. I said, like that first part the examiner spoke to on the objectives. I said to ascertain. So look at what he said. Ascertain. No. To ascertain whether, that's to achieve something. To ascertain whether. Then the next one is to review. The next one is to review again findings. The next one is to keep up. So put that to. It's very important. As a matter of fact, if I send to my head of internal audits the objective and you don't put that to, he's going to send that report back to you to clean it. So take note of that. If review is the duty or the objective, please let the objectives be to do something, to, before the action word. Yes. Put that as, so that to provide proper context. The Pathfinder did not do justice to it, I must say. To make recommendations, to authorize, that shows an objective and an aim. to achieve. So thank you for bringing that to the fore. It's very key. It's very noteworthy. Please, let's take note of that. An objective is to do something and to achieve something. Very important. Thank you so much for that, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Alex wants to say something. I believe he wants to provide clarity. We have astute lecturers also on the call. Yes, sir. Please go ahead, Mr. Alex.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Good day, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Please, I just want to, what they did here is very correct, sir. And I have to justify that.
Okay, sir.
And we have about 5 courses to pass for professional, but we only have 1 objective. We don't have 5 objectives. So the essence of this is that the objectives is usually 1, not 2. That is the way we write in thesis or in project dissertation. When you state the main objective, it's only 1. My objective in doing all these things is for me to be certified. It's only 1. So that is why they now break that objective into specific objectives, 7. And if you look at it, from the first one, there is no full stop at the end of first one itemized. The full stop ought to have come after the last point. That is why they put and. If somebody is writing project for me, and I discover that you want to state specific objectives and you are putting full stop, I will tell you, you only have 1 objective. So that is the standard. What they do here in my own client, in my own area, if somebody writes thesis like this for me, the main objective has been broken down into specific. It's only 1 objective, but these are the dimensions of it. That is why you look at it, the first one, there is no full stop, is semicolon. The second one also supposed to be semicolon, they mistakenly put full stop. The third, the fourth, and the up to the 5th one. After the 5th one, you will put and put your full stop at the end of the specifics. So that is to my little understanding, sir. Based on what we review, I've been corrected on this on my other program. So that is why I just have to bring clarity to that, sir.
Thank you, sir. This resonates very practically. Please, let's take note of that. Yeah, so we are adding to our learning. Thank you, sir, for that. So it's 1 objective splitted into splinter units. I get that. That rings the bell and it brings the point home. Thank you so much. So let's take note of that. So there's 1 objective, and it's true. The essence of my whole audit report is 1 of everything we do as internal auditors is for process improvement. Simple. That's the objective, but we have several objectives into splinter units, and exactly. So that resonates. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for that explanation. We appreciate it. Please, any other conversation around that? We have like 10 minutes more. We should just go into chapter 3 straight. If we have any explanation, any points, observation, please bring it on so we can learn. Everybody can learn. I'm also learning, even though I'm your privileged tutor. Any other explanation on that? UK, I didn't know UK is on this call, and UK has not said anything. UK, what's happening?
I came in late, though.
Okay, I'm just seeing you now. I'm surprised that UK has not been on the call.
Just going late. Not been long. I came back from work.
Okay, you're welcome back. Welcome back. All right. Okay, so we are done with the past questions, and I'll still share it. I shared it in the last class. Past